SMB. Yes, we are back to this other session of the stories. Right about now, we are going to talk about the business entertainment news because currently the filming industry has been facing quite a lot of things due to the current COVID wave and quite so many movie studios actually are really registering low sales. And at the quick start, first of all, why the movie? Because movie contributes a certain percentage to the economy of the USA. First of all, we're going to look at the international scale, then we shall touch a little bit on the local scale. Yes, because it pays about $44 billion per year and employs quite 100,000 people and above, and also there are quite so many subsectors that depend on that industry. Yes, and currently the big movie giants, for example, Universal Pictures, Paramount Pictures, the likes of Walt Disney, Columbia Pictures, and so many others, currently they have been really finding it hard since theaters currently they are not open due to social distancing issues, and it's really hard to take people back to the theaters. So what kicks off the news today is about news from the Universal Pictures. Universal Pictures is one of the oldest. Actually, it started in 1912. It's been releasing like one of the most blockbusters we've all been watching and enjoying. And currently, the chairperson came up to say something. Let's have a look at the story, then I'll explain it deeper. She comes up to say that the film industry is continuing to dodge the wave that the COVID-19 pandemic throws at it. But that is the new normal. Whatever it ends up being, what would have happened even without the virus shutting down the movie industry. Otherwise, she's trying to say this would have even happened without even the coronavirus being the one responsible for the shutdown. She further says, I think the industry is in the moment of evolution. We are surfing the wave of change right now. Langley said that the information's conference Thursday. This is what she says. I think that we are seeing a play out now what's happening in the pre-pandemic. The streaming companies doing extraordinary well, scaling up their volume output. That has been happening for a while. Inevitably, a year from now, things will look different than they do today. And Universal is being conservative as it looks in the coming months. What you need to know, before 2020, there used to be what we call a 90-day window, whereby if a company releases a movie, it goes 90 days into the theaters, and after the 90 days, that's when they release the Blu-ray version on the disc for people to go and buy. The discs, like putting the movie on the streaming sites, and also people going to the to different movie stores in the like whatever city, and they buy those movies. But these days looks like when movies are being released by the studios, what they do, they go straight to their streaming sites. Now, what are streaming sites? Most of these companies we see, for example, Lionsgate, Universal Pictures, Netflix, what they have these days, what they have resorted to is when they do release a movie, instead of taking it to the theaters, they take it straight to their streaming sites. And how do you access them? First of all, you subscribe. There is a monthly fee you pay. And subscription seems to be that so many people actually are buying into subscription because it seems to be cheaper as compared to someone buying a ticket at $9.12. That's what people say. So Universal Pictures has been known to be one of those studios that have been mainly earning their money through theatrical releases. What I mean by theatrical is when a movie is released at the theater and people go to the box office and they buy tickets to go into the theater, sit and watch. So, and that tradition looks like it has died away due to the pandemic. And Universal Pictures comes out to also try to go into the streaming side, because this really is really threatening to the studio, because if it's been, first of all, the streaming industry itself is really very, very competitive currently, because one of the top the top streaming site which has the most subscribers includes Netflix, because Netflix, when you search, it has about 100 million plus subscribers. We have the likes of HBO Max, we have Amazon, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and so many other. There is Peacock. Actually, Universal Pictures is in deals with Peacock so that Peacock can access some of its franchise movies. For example, Fast and Furious 9, one of the major blockbusters that were released this year, though its movies have been streaming on HBO since 2005. So currently, starting 2022, it's in deals with Peacock. Actually, reports show that Peacock and Universal are owned by one company, that's Comcast. Yes. So to continue on what she says, she goes ahead to say, none of us really know anything. If you look back a year ago, we certainly thought the industry of theatrical movie going would be back in full swing by now. Theatrical, like I said, is when a movie is released in the theater and people go to the theater but first buying tickets through the box office. She says, none of us really know anything. If you look back a year ago, we certainly thought the industry of theatrical movie going would be back in full swing by now. She goes ahead to say that they are anticipating the theatrical market to be down by 20% going forward, for it taking a long time to get back to those pre-pandemic numbers. Because according to the projections, we see that theatrical movie releasing is reducing. It's making movies, the movie revenue go by 20% below. So that really poses a big challenge to the movie studios, not only the movie studios, but also the theater owners, because currently there have been a battle between the theater owners plus the movie studios, because some of these movie studios, what they want to do right now when they release their movies, they want to go straight to the streaming platforms and stream those movies right there. Then she goes ahead to say, however, while other studios are exploring how they can merge their theatrical distribution plans with their streaming ambitions, Langley, that's the chairperson of the Universal Pictures, Langley, says Universal remains committed to the theatrical experience. That despite of what's going on, Universal is still going theatrical, because that's how it has been making most of its sales, through theatrical releases. A theatrical experience. The way that we as a film studio monetize our content, for it to begin in a theatrical window with a big market campaign behind it, she added. That big marketing campaign and the theatrical footprint is what makes a movie matter. That won't change. In most cases, we always value a movie being a blockbuster in terms of grossing much more money, grossing revenues by how it performs on the box office, by how people go to the box office and they buy the tickets to go to the theater to watch that movie being released. So that's how we measure the strength of a movie concerning earnings and grosses, because streaming sites have not really been so much into place, not until recently when they have just been put in place, with Netflix being one of the pioneers with so many streamers there. But that doesn't mean Universal isn't on board with streaming. Universal currently, like I said, is in signs with Peacock. Peacock is a streaming company. It's a streaming company whereby different movie studios, when they release movies, they subscribe to Peacock, and Peacock streams for their behalf, and the viewers can access them via the different websites. But that doesn't mean Universal isn't on board with streaming. The studio has partnered with NBC Universal's own streaming service, Peacock, yes, for a handful of day-and-day releases, including the upcoming Halloween Kills through Langley. Noted she thinks it will be more of us making originals and moving forward for them. Still, the shift to streaming will create a long-lasting change in at least one area, the shorter theatrical window that have become a negotiating point amid the pandemic. Yes, now the 90-day windows, like we said earlier, it used to be 90 days when the movie could be in the theater. Then after the 90 days, that's when the Blu-ray version is being released. But currently, the plan is to make it 45 days. Yes, but it's still in negotiation, because the theater owners are literally going to run out of business, and that is going to worsen everything. So there is a negotiation deal. At least, instead of taking the movie first straight away to the streaming site, at least first take it to the theater for at least 45 days. Yes, that's the window that is still in negotiation. Then she goes ahead to say, we are shifting the norms that have been in existence for decades. You want to communicate with the talent you are working with, Langley said. Adding that a new compensation model has emerged it is actually quite easy to think about it in any way. If your movie is for theatrical, you get compensated on the box office revenue. Yeah, she's trying to say that when your movie is theatrical, you will have to get compensated with a box office revenue. Quite a lot of actors have been coming up and they have been complaining because they say that when movies go streaming, they earn little money as compared to when movies go theatrical, because like how the norm has been. Even give an example in Uganda, at Cineplex, people we used to go, I'm a movie fanatic personally, people we could go buy the movies and the tickets, whatever price they could range, we could go for them, and looks like the turn up in theaters is quite fair. Universal Pictures, being one of the giants in the movie industry in terms of production, it's actually one of the leading movies, though it's not really the best, but it's one of the top, fourth oldest movie studio in the world, because it's been making some of the most favorite movies that we've been all really craving for, Jurassic Park being one of them, a movie that really grossed them quite a number of money. And at the same time, the movie owners have come up to complain about the issue of branding, because typically when you take a movie out there, it takes a certain cost for you to brand it, because you have to create the brand so that the people can go and buy out that movie. And in terms of that, most of the money, it seems to be going to the distribution companies, like the companies that are distributing. Because what you need to know, there is a film that makes, there is a studio that makes the movie, then there is a studio that distributes the movie, and then the theater itself. So now, these are three incomes that we are talking about. Plus, the actors also have to be paid on top of that, and they are paid per the sales that are being made on the box office. So in this case, you find that, for example, if a movie is grossing about, because so many of us, when we look at these movies, we have this fantasy around, but these people really go through a lot, and the pandemic has really caused them to really shrink, because some of the movies that were supposed to be released and make some good money have been delayed the release due to the pandemic. For example, like I was saying, Universal makes the movie, then Summit Entertainment distributes the movie. But when Summit Entertainment is distributing that movie, it's going to go to one of the theaters. Yes, it's going to go to one of the theaters where to distribute that movie from. So once the sales are made, the theater takes off a percentage. The distribution company, which is Summit Entertainment, takes off a percentage. Then the remaining balance goes back to the filmmaker studio. That's a Universal. I'm just trying to give an example. So that's what really is going on. And actors like Dwayne Johnson have also really come up to complain about that whole thing. Because in the next coming few minutes, so she currently, like we are saying, okay, at this very point, we are going to get in touch with Sonko. Sonko is on ground and is going to inform us what's really taking place right there with MTN. Yes. Yes, Sonko.
All right, a very warm welcome. We are live from the Kampala Serena Hotel, and thank you very much, Andrew Barije, who has actually been taking you through Smart Main's business. We shall continue later, but I'm on ground here as MTN Uganda is actually going to launch. That is the initial public offer. That is the IPO launch that is the IPO conference live from the Kampala Serena Hotel as MTN Uganda that actually opened 1.2 billion.